Hey, AfterBuzzers, welcome to the SNL After Show. We're going to be talking about season 44, episode, what are we on, 6 now? Time is flying, guys. We're going to be talking about the Steve Carell episode with musical guest Ella May. We had some amazing cameos of people popping up. We got some RBG. We might rap. Who knows? Stick around.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Flash that shirt. Flash that shirt. Steph's gotten the RBG shirt tonight.
RBG is my, it says my Patronus is Ruth, to be more specific. And Amy's wearing I'm a unicorn because
Yes.
Ruth would definitely approve of that.
She would. If Ruth Bader Ginsburg doesn't approve of a cat dressing as a unicorn, I don't know what this world is about anymore. Welcome, guys, to the SNL After Show. I'm very excited to have Steph with me. Kelly will not be here, but Steph, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Steph Sabra, huge RBG fan, of course, huge Amy fan, of course, and we miss you, Kelly.
Yes. She obviously was talking about Amy Poehler, but I'm Amy Maestri, and I'm here, so that's cool.
Yeah. Oh, no, I was talking about you. Amy Poehler is fantastic, but you are my number one Amy.
Well, thank you.
I know.
I like to think that, too, but I think it's just because that's what my mom tells me, so... So what were your thoughts going into this? Are you a Steve Carell fan?
Oh yeah, I love Steve Carell. Almost everything he's done is watchable. More so even than I feel like some of like the Kristen Wiig movies, who I do like Kristen Wiig better, but just Steve Carell I feel like picks really good things to be in. But I loved him. I thought he brought out a lot of good cameos. I expected a lot from him because I think he can go fully into character and really indulge in SNL, and I've liked his past SNL episodes.
Yeah, agreed. Especially lately, his body of work has been, like, insane.
Yeah.
Which I almost kind of thought they were going to joke about a little bit more. Like, I know they did in some of the promos kind of just like, well, and they mentioned this too, like, you don't have to do sad movies anymore. He's like, no, I kind of like it. So, I'm always kind of interested when someone like him comes... When someone like it's so many people with a sketch or improv background, you wonder how much they actually bring to the table. You know, a lot of times when Melissa McCarthy hosts, she'll have characters or something that she brings. But Steve Carell, like you said, he's done so much. His body of work is so far from that world now. I kind of wonder if he does come to to the table with anything, or if he's just like,
that's such a good point.
Give it to me, let me have it.
Yeah, Melissa McCarthy, in my opinion, is the best guest SNL ever.
Oh yeah.
Because almost everyone who's not like a fan like us thinks she's was a cast member.
Yeah, exactly. Should we just talk about Melissa this whole time?
Yeah.
No, it's good. It's a good thing we like Steve Carell so much. So let's just jump in. Let's talk about the cold open. We saw the Laura Ingraham show again, which I was kind of like, we just did this. But I think they're kind of running out of because they're just like, wait, we can't just toss Trump up here.
Yeah.
Because I think Alec Baldwin is still dealing with some
it doesn't
legal
need
issues.
to, if you don't want to do it on the political happenings of the week, I'm okay with that. But I think Kate McKinnon does such a great job with anyone she does, especially Laura. I love the commercials that they put in with it. I love the twists. I think that there's more depths in the twists that they put in this as opposed to Trump cold opens.
Yeah.
But it's not that strong for me.
Yeah, and I think part of that for me, I totally agree. I think part of that for me is the fact that they just came off of doing this. And it's funny, I like her impression. But yeah, it felt forced, like they really didn't know what else to do. So they're just like, oh, well, this went over well when we did it last time. So let's bring that up again. Did you see that interview, though, that they poked fun at with the end, the vape god?
No, that was my favorite part of the cold open.
Yeah.
I can't believe I forgot about that. No, I didn't. Have you?
Oh, it's so hard to watch.
Oh, God.
Because this guy is just trolling them so hard during it. Pete was literally like not far off from what this guy was doing during the interview.
Maybe we can play that at the end of this episode if we have time.
That would be great.
Or
Yeah,
put it in the chat.
Yeah, definitely, because
I gotta see this.
We'll definitely get it up one way or another for you because it was kind of hard to watch at times.
And he just kills it because you could tell he was like, should I keep smoking this? Like, it was obviously his pen, like a real working pen vape.
And I think, yeah, that was unfortunately, I think, the strongest part of this for me, which is a letdown because they touched on, they were talking about the, the voter fraud. That should have been the sketch. Actual, like, what they were saying was happening because Trump literally came out and was like, people are going to their cars and putting on different clothes and disguises. And they had that Tyler Perry joke, which I thought was funny, but take it out of the news studio, take it out of that setting, put it into the real world, and let's see that sketch on voter fraud.
I think that's such a great idea. And those are the parts that I think SNL is missing, and I even missed, now that you bring it up. It's not like what the political candidates are doing or the people in office. It's kind of, there's a humor and a crazy factor about what's happening with us, like as voters or as citizens, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh, yes, please.
Let's go for it.
Yo, what up? Ready to talk politics and rip some fat vape clouds.
And you're not trolling me, right? You're a real expert on e-cig laws?
Oh, for sure. I got that swag. I got that drip drip.
Uh-huh. And our producers have fully vetted you because we bumped Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas to speak with you.
Then you made the right choice, because my puff game, dilly dilly.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
So, when I was first watching it, I was like, wait, does Pete just keep breaking? But in the actual interview, this guy is just kind of like giggling a lot and just like, because he even was just like, this is so ridiculous that
I'm trying to find it. Okay, I got it. I'm going to send it to Juliet. Okay.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Well, oh, wait, actually, here we go.
Yes.
Titles that have helped propel the explosion in the use among the young. Here now, two folks on very separate sides of this issue. Jeanette Neshwat is a family emergency room doctor, and Tom Scabelli, a blogger at Barstool Sports, who affectionately goes by the name Tommy Smokes.
What's up?
Because of videos like this.
First thing I'm gonna try, sick jewel trick.
They even got the Travis Scott in the background.
The fact that this was like a legitimate interview that she did on her show.
All the Fox News people watching were probably like, what in God's devil lettuce?
Tell me on why these flavored e-cigs shouldn't be regulated, even when teens are using them in these increasing numbers.
Well, look, I'm 22 years old, so I'm using them legally, and honestly, they're just cool. Like, they're cool. You rip them.
They're cool.
There's nothing cooler than blowing a fat cloud like that. They call me the Colossus of Cloud. It helps my swag, it helps my drip. I just love walking around. It's really good for getting chicks, too. So, honestly, I started about a year ago, and I haven't looked back since.
I have a question. You use your cell phone quite a bit?
Yeah, quite a bit.
Okay, so why don't you rig it up to your phone, and that way you won't have like the actual calories burned by grabbing your phone, so you can vape and kind of check email and text at the same time.
Like,
you
what
have
is
it, like, right off the side.
Well, like,
okay,
she's probably like, I've never seen this. Wow.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but you don't have to keep switching devices. All right, humor aside, doctor, what should we know about the use of these e-cigarettes, vaping? Wildly popular. Parents don't really know when their kids are doing it. Like, what's a big deal? It's not like a cigarette, right?
Well, it can be just as harmful as cigarettes. Smoking causes more deaths than alcohol.
Yeah,
okay, wow.
So I just love that it's really not that. Like, this guy just trolled them so hard to get onto the show. Got on there. I saw that he was tweeting during it, being like, or afterwards, so being like, the producer keeps going in my ear, like, you can stop vaping now. And he just kept doing it.
Question, since you have a little more research, was he really like that in real life, or was he putting on a show to troll them, actually?
I think it's both. Like, I think it's kind of both. Like, from what I've, like, some of the things that I was reading earlier, that he just, like, likes to vape, and he works for, the Barstool, and, like, he was just like, yeah, this would be a funny thing to do. And it was.
There's nothing cooler than hitting the vape, and I have nothing against pens, but I've never seen someone who is vaping talk like that, so that's hilarious. Kudos to you for trolling that show.
Seriously. Well done. So let's jump into the monologue. we were talking about this before we went on air. If anyone watching, no, I was trying to find it. The first audience member that Steve Carell was talking to, I don't know if she's a writer on the show currently, because a lot of times they'll do that. They'll pull a writer or someone that might be getting tapped to, you know, go into the cast soon. But I was trying to find who she was, and I couldn't find anything. She was really funny.
I was trying to find that too, and I think that's a great point that she's probably a writer, because she seems so much more like anyone who's just an audience member can usually only get out like one word or two because they're just so nervous. And she was like all the confidence.
Yeah. Well, so in the monologue, we got some huge cameos. We got to see some old school Office alum. We got Ed Helms, Ellie Kemper, Jenna Fisher. Huge. Did you watch The Office?
Yeah, I haven't finished it. I know, I love the show. I've watched the first few seasons, and I just haven't finished it because we cover so many shows here.
Yeah.
So I'm just constantly watching what we're covering, and like the new shows, there's so much content out there. But I do understand how legendary of a show it is.
It made my heart happy to hear the Office theme song at the end, that they played them out to the theme song. I was kind of let down by the jokes in it. I thought it was funny. Like, it did, like, there was that escalation of like first Ellie Kemper and then them bringing it back. I love the addition of his wife and kids at the end, just being like, it's fine, you can go.
I do love the part with Keenan when he's like, are you an actor or are you an audience member? And he's like, you would know if I'm acting. And everyone's like, I'm glad you know that, Keenan.
Props that you know you're not a good actor. Also, he should be so lucky to get to do a Kenan and Kel reboot.
Oh, right?
He should be so lucky.
You're so right.
This is going straight out to our viewers who always troll me afterwards about how much I hate Kenan.
Alto Keys is the main one, right?
Yeah, Maudie, I think, is the other one. So yeah, you guys, you're welcome. Don't worry, I'll talk more about him later too. But I think, overall, it was fun. I love getting to see the cast members. Not the best, but I think, when they do like the audience questions or they have cameos like that, it's not always gonna be the funniest, but it's fun to watch. Yeah,
it wasn't I kind of expected a little longer of a monologue just because of his background and what he's capable of.
Yeah.
I mean, more of a dialogue-driven monologue with just himself speaking, but it was still fun. And it did remind me of, there was like this bit of a bunch of reporters asking Steve Carell how he feels about his new white hair because everyone digs it. Great reminder that I've never seen someone with a come up so hard going from their natural hair color to white.
Yeah.
It looks amazing.
It does.
It makes me want white hair to see what the possibilities can be.
The possibilities are endless. Yeah. Endless. We're gonna hold off on the first sketch of the night. I'm gonna jump into that one later. We'll break it down a little bit more in depth for the anatomy of a sketch. Yeah, for the special segment. So we'll get back to that one. So then let's go to the digital short for the Amazon ad of him just trolling Trump so hard.
And Jeff Bezos.
What were your thoughts on this one?
Anytime there's a bald cap, I'm in, fully in. So that was amazing to see. I do think that there's been a lot of controversy where Amazon's headquarters are going to be, and New York was a really... It seemed random because I was kind of keeping track at first of different states it could be, because obviously it brings a lot of benefits to the state. But I love the Trump part. Just trolling him so obviously and blatantly. It was just hilarious and made me want to dive deeper into Jeff Bezos' life.
Yeah, like he's my new hero. Yeah. Even though it's just a sketch, but still, like, I mean, just the idea of them taking that and the specifics and the attention to detail, like as he's walking through and in the background you see the pictures of him posing like Trump or like Putin and a lot of them, and I was like, oh my god, so much shade. The line about him packing the last book that had 4 chapter 11s.
Oh god.
Like, it was just burn after burn.
Yes. And I have that's like $100 million more than you or something.
So much shade, and I was actually really bummed that one of my favorite lines, because this pissed me off so much when Trump did it, but that we pay respect to our veterans even when it's raining outside. Oh, and it got nothing, and I was like, well, maybe it's because everyone's still just as mad about it, but I was like, that's a burn that deserves to be to be
because
praised.
even SNL when Lil Wayne was performing last week, a lot of the Twitter was going off about, they were like, it's funny that Lil Wayne's paid more tribute to veterans than our president.
and now they have done so in an Amazon ad, as well, a fake Amazon ad.
Love it.
Okay, this next one, the Thanksgiving dinner, the Turkey Day song. I loved this one. What were your thoughts?
I loved this. I thought it was so funny, so what I needed. I was worried that we weren't going to get a Thanksgiving sketch or anything that had slightly to do with it, but I just thought there was a lot of good lines. It was set up really well, and everyone played their part.
Agreed. I was almost going to talk about this one for The Anatomy of a Sketch, solely because of how much I enjoyed it. The structure that we'll get into the other one is different, so I wanted to talk about that one, but I also just wanted to talk with you more about this one too, because it was so much fun, and I think it reminded me of like old school SNL, like more like 90s, early 2000s, just kind of like weird and silly for no other reason. Or I mean, even through like early on, you know, when they first started in the 70s, it was just silly. It was fun.
I loved it. I love the animation of the characters, or the little colonels. Sorry, let me get the name of it. I'm pulling up my notes, you guys.
Oh wait, we're talking about the other one.
Oh, I'm mixing up the other Thanksgiving one, but yes, I'll talk about those later.
I think the song in this one, also Cecily and Steve had such immediately good, like their chemistry was just so good right off the jump. I was so happy about that.
I loved them together.
Yeah. And the weirdness of the song that just got crazier and crazier. Some of them. Oh yeah, so this is the one after.
No, these are just Kern sounds.
The sounds Kern makes.
It's delicious, y'all.
Kern and corn.
I transitioned us into the next bit. There was 2 Thanksgiving ones.
Yeah, so we can actually pull that one up in a little bit because that is a funny visual. But some of the specifics from this song, my thing got scared and my face got red.
Oh my god, yes.
His thing woke up, but then it gets scared again, and then a squirrel walked in. Like, what? And they're just like, I don't think this is about Thanksgiving, guys. It's literally about 2 like strangers boning in a shed and then talking in German accents and then leaving.
And then just the build up at the end where she's like, she's gone. And he was like, that was the love of my life.
Yes. I love that, like you said, that build at the end of like, oh yeah, she was the love of my life. Wait, where are my car keys? Didn't you have a picture over there? I think she stabbed me. Like, what a great build. And the timing was just so quick and perfect on it. My one thing that really bugs me, there's always something at the end.
What?
That gets me. It was literally just, I wanted them to cut it 2 seconds sooner. I wanted it to end on like that zoom in of Steve Carell singing that last line. What was it? Now we do the turkey dance. But like so like sad and alone while the mayhem is going on. Like I liked seeing all of it, but they cut to Beck and just said like, I'm bleeding so hard. And I'm like, I didn't need that last thing.
That's an interesting point because I think Beck's peak, like his line was just saying, I think she stabbed me.
Yeah, like, and we saw some of the mayhem going on before that, so I feel like while that mayhem is still going on, to just have that one last little zoom in on Steve Carell, just, and we did the turkey dance.
Yeah, you're right.
That's all I wanted. 2 seconds. That was my only complaint. No complaints on the next one. RBG. The Ruth Bader Ginsburg rap.
Man. It was so good. Like I've said before, Chris Redd and Pete Davidson are like that Lonely Island vibe that are just so amazing together. I feel like these have been my favorite digital sketches this year. I think that they've really upped their game, and we can update, and digital sketches are saving a lot of the episodes for me. But the fact that they got to touch on RBG, God bless her soul, broke 3 ribs, but that's not gonna stop her. And you have Kate McKinnon is like the best representation of of RBG ever. I was RBG for Halloween. Not gonna lie, I did a really great job.
You did.
But this was so much better. The lyrics were so next level. They're like, did you know that there's a woman holding down the entire Supreme Court? I love how true they get with it, and then also make it so funny, and the dance moves were hilarious.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's such a good point. I was texting with my friend before this, Daniela, who was also RBG for Halloween, and she's obsessed with her, rightfully so, we all should be. And she was like, not lying, I would give a kidney to her if she needed it.
Oh, yeah.
Fair.
Seriously.
But we were talking about it, like, I wonder if she knows, like, what a boss she is. Like, I want to watch her watch Kate McKinnon.
They
do
have
RBG.
showed her that in her one of the 4 films about her that they mentioned in this sketch. Her one on, I think it's on Hulu and also on Amazon Prime, the latest RBG one.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, how did you feel when you saw this? And she's like, I didn't know that. I think it's funny. Like, she's so humble. She doesn't get what the attraction is, because I do know some judges, and she is such a classic judge through and through, where they do not like attention.
Yeah.
They just do their job, and she's like the best in the game ever, in the sense that she's just there to work and to hold people accountable and to bring equal rights, which is like, why is that so hard? So,
well, that's why I loved it. The line in here, "Don't F with my Roe v. Wade."
Oh, yeah. And then they're like, live Ginsburg. I ride for Ginsburg. And then she's like, now you know we love RBG. Yo, tell them your favorite RBG decision, dog. And he's like, I don't know.
I just love Chris's reaction to that. Like, come on, man. Because I feel like that's so many people, like, just jumping on the RBG train right now.
Totally. Well, so many people, they were like, what are you being for Halloween? I was like, RBG. And they're like, who? And I'm like, the notorious RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And they're like, who? What? History books. What's happening?
I love that you just so, like, deadpan are like, the notorious RBG.
Yeah. I mean, what? She's replaced Biggie in a lot of sense.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. But again, like, all the specifics in this were just made it so. And yeah, the performance by those two. Chris is freaking killing it.
I want him in more sketches.
Yeah, I know he's kind of dropped off in sketches.
Yeah.
It's been mostly digital shorts lately, which I love seeing him in. But yeah, that's a good point.
They've had a lot of Melissa Villasenor, which I'm not mad at.
Yeah.
But also Mikey Day, I believe, has been in a ton.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess it's really hard. It is hard to get in sketches. Even if you guys saw Beck Bennett's Instagram story, he was doing it with Kyle Mooney, obviously, and he was like, so why aren't you in any sketches this week? And he's like, like, we just go through this writing process, and sometimes you just don't make it. I'm not in any sketches. And he's full on in that character. Yes. And I love it so much, but it's hilarious. I mean, it is hard. Like, you're dealing with the best writers and comedians in the game right now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of competition, and actually I feel like this is a good point to bring this up. One of our viewers, Alto Keys, brought up that he was asking about old cast members. Now, that it's kind of the stage that we got past Taryn and Bobby and Vanessa and Jay, who were all really strong character actors. What's up with the featured players now? So I feel like that's kind of a cool thing to talk about, like what their performances are looking like compared to, when you look at some of the like greats of SNL, some took a little longer to get there. Someone like Amy Poehler, I think she was even a mid-season. She was one of the few that they actually promoted mid-season because they were just like, damn, she is that good.
Yeah.
But out of like the current featured players right now, who do you see just kind of like being that next
next one? Yeah. It's a really good question. Well, obviously, I feel like Kate McKinnon's already on that track.
Yeah, like from when because how long? I'd be interested. I'm not sure off the top of my head if any of you guys know how long she stayed featured. But yeah, of the current featured right now, because I feel like Heidi has just been crushing it.
Yeah.
And she's not always as heavily featured, like it's kind of up and down, but she's just one of those people who, and again, like to Alto Keys, your point about the character actors, she is so strong as a character actor.
Yeah, my bad. Featured players. I think Heidi is, I could see her getting picked up for movies and everything, because when she's in character, she's in character. I could see that being exactly like Kristen Wiig type, where you can just let that kind of seep over into a normal role.
Yeah.
But I love Chris Redd, and I think he could be really versatile in a lot of different movies as well and
Yeah.
getting picked up. I know he's still doing a lot of stand-up when he's not on SNL. Those are my two I think are the most diverse and can have a lot of tools.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, well said on Chris. I would love to just see more from him now. So, Lorne, writers, Chris.
What's going on?
Beautiful. So let's jump into the next sketch. The NASA sketch.
Oh.
Where they just kill a bunch of monkeys.
I dozed off during this one. I loved the premise. The beginning, I'm like, okay, they're in space. I like it. They kind of have that, what's the word for it when you're...
Oh, like the no gravity,
But what is that word when you're doing that in improv? Space.
Oh, like space work?
Yeah, space work. I thought that was really cool.
In space.
Space. Get it? But it was just weird.
Yeah.
But not weird and to go, I love really weird. Make it even weirder than if you're gonna, it just seemed like they wanted the punchline to be that there were frozen animals and that was it.
Yeah. And I mean, at first I was like, oh, this is funny if something's gonna go wrong while they're supposed to be doing interviews with kids. I was like, that's a funny premise. But then it literally was just, everyone dies.
Yeah.
We brought animals up here and they all died. So
Zigzag in the chat made a really great point. NASA, when Kate was floating in space with the hair, I was cracking up. That was hilarious.
That was funny. I will give that, because Kate was frozen. She was very much frozen in it. And when she just kept thudding into the glass. That was probably the only thing that made me laugh in it. And one thing that I will actually say, I'm gonna oddly shout out Betty White right now.
Oddly, there's never an odd time to shout out Betty White.
That's true. We should do it every episode for no reason.
Yep.
Just because she was always someone who was like, I don't get humor when it's like an animal died or you did something bad to an animal. And she actually turned down a role in As Good as It Gets, because this was from an interview she did. She said they had this puppy dog, this adorable puppy, that at one point they dropped down a laundry chute. It landed on a pile of laundry in the storyline, and I turned down the role. There are a lot of people in apartments who would think that was a solution. It would either be funny to do that, or it'd be a solution to a barking neighbor, or something like that. So it certainly wouldn't always have a happy ending. So I said, as long as that scene was in the film, I wouldn't do it.
Interesting.
And I was like, boss.
Yeah.
Because I'm the same. Like, I mean, I'm a comedy writer. I don't find it funny. Like, look, a frozen dead floating monkey.
Yeah.
Like, and there's no point to it. So I just thought this was
just
garbage.
Easy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's very much going for an easy laugh. It's lazy writing. I was not a fan of this one at all. Garbage. Listen to Betty White. Always listen to Betty White.
Always. If in doubt.
So let's move into LMA. We got the first musical performance after this one.
Oh, yes.
She has the voice of an angel.
I love her. She released her first album on October 12th, and I was surprised at her song choice. She obviously sang the songs that are the two biggest radio hits right now, but her entire album is really good, and I was surprised because her hits are so poppy and so like, did you write this? I don't know, but it's still good. I'm still gonna sing along and memorize every lyric of this. But her album and her body of work is really great, and I just think she's a beautiful artist, and her voice is amazing, and it was really good to watch her. And I do have to say that sometimes I think when you do perform slower songs, it is almost better. In this case, I think it did do it. It fit in with the episode as a whole.
That's a good point. It somehow did, and I think because even though they're slower songs, she brought energy to them.
Yeah.
So there was something about the way that she performed and like the set actually on the second one and everything. Like, she just seems any performer, whether I like their music or not, and I do like hers, but when they sing that at home on stage and when she's just having fun.
Yeah.
And that always helps a slower song too. But I really liked both of them. All right, so let's jump into update with the boys.
Oh yes.
Did you have any before we get into the guests? Did you have any jokes that were some of your favorites from this one?
I didn't write any down this time. What about you? It wasn't as like one-liner heavy as usual for me.
I feel like the last 2 weeks almost have kind of been a little bit weaker on the jokes. was it last week or the week before when they had like 10 guests too?
That was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, yeah, where it was just like, write some jokes, guys. But yeah, I thought the jokes were a little bit weak too. I did like the one where they had to kick out the guy from Disney World because he demanded to separate the It's a Small World kids from their families, and ironically that man snuck in through the park in Epcot's Mexico.
Good point.
But yeah, it's overall I thought the actual joke writing was kind of weak. But let's go into Mikey doing Denver Riggleman, the congressman-elect for Virginia, who is into Bigfoot erotica.
Yeah. I really like this one. It was obviously very weird, but I think Mikey is becoming a really pivotal role this season.
Yeah.
And he brings a lot of life into his characters, and he's full out into it. So I love the premise being that he really actually was into this erotica, and he's like, wait, how hilarious is this? And then it's like the weirdest, creepiest thing ever.
His commitment when he was just getting more and more excited, I was so creeped out in the best way because he committed to it so hard and he was so weird. I almost though would have liked to see it start as like an actual conversation, like he was coming on to talk about like things that he wants to do in Virginia or whatever, like kind of take it from that place and have him continue to veer off there, because it's already such a weird story. Like it's already so weird that we have a congressman-elect who is super into Bigfoot erotica.
This is why people are like, I hate the internet. Like, you find out everything. I'm like, honestly, that's for closet weirdos. The internet is called accountability in a lot of ways. And I'm like, you could search me, and I have some weird stuff, but I'll say it. I'm not hiding under, like, a congressman cape. Like, what? And I'm certainly not into Bigfoot erotica. So let me just get that out there.
I just want you to keep talking. Everything you're saying right now is perfection. So yeah, I thought this was a fun segment. I liked that Colin ending it with like it's a joke, like that he reads it too. That like kind of callback catchphrase of it's a joke, it's funny.
You're right.
And then we have LeVar Ball. You can go ahead.
It seems just, obviously, I think most of America knows who LeVar Ball is now by choice or not choice. He's made it to most of our TV screens. But it is still specific. I think the things he does in Lithuania with his kids on the team is specific to the basketball community. So it just, I don't know. Like, I just don't think it's necessary, especially when you have Colin Jost and Michael Che. Like, they can go longer on their bits. I don't know if it's a time thing or it's just that they really thought that bit was great.
Yeah, I think that kind of character is a one-off character. When he first kind of came onto the scene, it was funny and everyone was talking about him. And I feel like they just kind of like find excuses to have him come back on. If they insist on doing this, this is my meeting halfway on with Keenan fans right now. If they insist on doing this, what I'd like to see is have him, again, like sketch is meant to bring a point of view to something. It's meant to take something crazy and do something different with it. This is similar to Trump openings. It's him just talking about his sons and being crazy. If you want to have him on, keep bringing him on. But again, almost like I was talking about before, talk about something else.
Raise the stakes.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love when you say this because it makes me remember what the point of sketch comedy is a lot of the sense. Is to bring that point and then make it freaking weird. Like, that's the point. Make it weirder. We see him. He's as weird as you can get. He's as obnoxious as you can get. So you should use that as a challenge to make it even weirder.
What I'd love to see is have him come on and do like a top 5 list of something random. Because then you can still bring in his weirdness and his point of view on things, but not
outside
just like
the topic of basketball.
Exactly. Because right now it's just the same thing over and over and over again. I already hate Keenan enough. So even if it was someone I liked doing it, though, that's what I'd want to see them doing. Yeah. Not just so on the nose every time. So, see, was that good? Was that close enough to liking Keenan?
Was that nice
Still pretty
enough?
far. Still pretty far away. So, beauty school dropout. Steve Carell also has the voice of an angel.
He does. He does. I loved 80 in this. I miss 80. She's one of our favorites, of course. I think it was funny. I loved the setup. I almost though wish that I think that they were trying to make the punchline that it was real, but I think they could have still gone with the dream-like sense of it. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I was interested in your take of this one.
Yeah, I liked it just because it was such an immediate twist. That you knew exactly where they were going with it. I felt like, yeah, they could have gotten more like dreamy and kind of like weird with it. But agreed, 80, her delivery on like calling out what everyone's thinking is always so well done, and you just are always like so down with whatever she's saying. But I just really love just his weird takes of like, I give teenage girls great advice. And then he calls her baby, and 80's just like, good Lord, don't call her baby. She's 15.
I did love the point of, she was like, where have you been? Mom's been dying without you.
But he's just been gone for like 6 weeks. And then Heidi was, oh, so I'm sorry that I summoned him. I think it was just fun and strange. It was good getting to see the girls get together on this, and Steve Carell was really great in it. But before we get into the next, to the last couple sketches in the special segment, News and Gossip, let's hear a little bit more about AfterBuzz and what's going on.
Oh yeah, like I said, you guys, AfterBuzz produces after shows for so many shows, including your favorite show, SNL, right here. We have dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and more. There's no network working harder to serve television fans, and we're asking you to please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our channel, YouTube will suggest content that's tailor-made for you, and you'll help AfterBuzz continue to grow. And if you're worried about pesky notifications, don't be, because they are optional. So hit that subscribe button now for this channel and check out our other AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. Let us know you did so in the comments, and we'll thank you on air. For now, thanks for being the best fans and for helping us be the ESPN of TV talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys in the chat are making this really fun. Thanks for joining us.
Keep it coming.
Yeah.
Keep it coming, guys. So yeah, let's get into the last few sketches here. So the next one, I just called it RV Parents because I wasn't really sure what else to call it.
Close enough.
It took a weird turn at the end of the night, which ends up happening a lot of times. But I think, again, we've been giving a lot of love to Heidi. She kind of saved this for me.
100%. 100%. It was interesting because I think Steve's main one was the beauty school dropout. Or no, it was Jeff Bezos, but I think those were most of his like in character.
Yeah.
This one was fully Heidi. When she does that little cringy voice, I just die watching it. She was so funny, so in character, and so screaming for help. Like she's like, I'm miserable.
I think between like the squeaking at the top and just her total dead eyes when she would just kind of like look off, I love it. I love it.
Look at me in the eyes when you're telling me this, Mom.
I mean, the pacing of this seemed weird. Everything seemed off except for Heidi. There was something about it that seemed off, like throughout the whole thing. Yeah, the kids and the timing, and like I didn't quite get a lot of it, but I think she just really carried this one.
Yeah.
Also, Lady Grey. Oh my God. Lady Grey might be my new favorite cast member.
Have you ever seen a dog punch someone in the face?
Which is such a funny line, but then also when you see Lady Grey and just the big sad eyes.
Yeah, I loved Lady Grey.
I did like the weird specific too of, well, Mom, where do you sleep? Like this, and she just puts her head down on the table.
Perfect timing. Yeah, Heidi really executes whatever she has perfectly.
Yeah, and I feel like that's just such a true, and I mean, acting of any kind, whether it's dramatic or comedic, it's when you have something small like that or something that's not good and you bring that much to it, and she just always does that every single time.
Agreed.
So now we get onto your cornels of Kern.
Oh yeah,
cornels of Kern.
But you're gonna break it down for me. Right?
I'm gonna break. No, I'm gonna break down the kids going to Disneyland with the dumb dad.
Oh yes. Okay, let's talk about the Kerns. Pete Davidson has the miniature Kern. That really hurts. Stop.
I didn't love this sketch. I just loved Pete.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, I liked the whole bit of kind of like this genocide play on the Kurds and kind of just playing a part of it without knowing, and then you do know and you still continue to play a part because it's business and whatever it may be. So I like that, but yeah, I agree. I really just liked Pete. I really liked that.
And I gotta say, props to the ones who did get through it. I know Keenan did stumble. Don't jump at me. Don't at me on this one. He did stumble.
Yep.
But whenever there's wordplay like that, it always gets so tricky. And a lot of them really with the enunciation. Steve Carell was on top of it. He was on top of it every single time with like the enunciation on the weird variations of it.
I feel like that is definitely one of his skills, though.
Yeah. Yes. Words.
He's like meant to play. So many of his characters are the weirdest, most talkative type characters, so he would have to be good at that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Excellent point.
Thank you.
Well, this was for that sketch. I just put WTF, Pete though.
Yeah. Wow, that should have been the literal title of that sketch.
Pete though.
Yeah, agreed.
And then we have GP Yes.
GP Yes. You know I would love this. I love RuPaul's Drag Race. I do.
So being a big fan of the show.
Yeah, I loved it.
Right.
I loved this sketch. I thought it was actually really unique. It was relatable because people don't realize this. RuPaul's Drag Race has a cult following. Like, people love this show. So I really do think that if this was a thing, I might have to download this. But I thought it was really great, and I think that they actually did bring in people from RuPaul. Like, they actually had drag queens come in for this, I hope.
Yeah, so actually I saw on Cecily's Instagram, she was just like so thrilled to have gotten to do this.
She's probably a super fan.
Yeah, so she had like a whole big post about it actually, just because like, yeah, they actually came in, she got to like sing with them in studio and everything.
I love that. As opposed to them dressing up as drag queens, I think that it does such a better service and more realistic to have these literal god queens on stage. Loved it.
Yeah, and I mean, Cecily, she held her own. She held her own with them.
She did.
I loved it. And I think Steve Carell's the perfect man to be in the car, like, experiencing it. Like, when he was just like, you go, girl. What did I just say? Like, he's such a, like, typical, like, middle-aged white dad.
Yeah.
He was so excited by it. I loved it. Nice ending for a show, too. I feel like so often they, just kind of a throwaway sketch gets put there and you're just like, huh.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought this was fun.
You're right.
It kept high energy at the end of the show, and I liked that it wasn't just a throwaway at the end.
Totally.
All right, so before we get into some news and gossip, we have some tea this week, right? You got some news and gossip for us, or
not too much.
All right, well, we'll get into it after. Maybe we'll just talk more about Cecily and what a queen she is on Instagram.
I kind of said it in the Beck Instagram story, and kind of this not in Kyle Mooney not being in the sketches.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Well, I gave it early.
How dare you?
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It was still good. It was still fun. So let's jump into Anatomy of a Sketch, our special segment, where I just kind of break down a sketch. We're going to do the first sketch of the night, which I called Dumb Dad, because, again, I don't even know what to title my own sketches, much less sketches that I see. So the basic premise of this one is that the dad wants to surprise the kids with a trip to Disney World. And then they end up surprising him with all these bombshells about the fact that, like, his wife is leaving him and how could he not know. I think that the presentation of this was excellent because immediately, as soon as they're just like, oh, no, he doesn't know. Yeah, like, you guys are over. Like, their delivery as the kids just being, like, so tired of having to be like, oh, my gosh, how does he not know? Was so well set up and such a strong premise. I think each beat getting better too, of just them realizing just how bad off he is. Some of the dialogue was really well written in this too. I loved the whole town knows it was in the newspaper. Like, just really giving specifics of how this guy doesn't know that his world is just falling apart around him. And then I also love just Mikey going, "Oh no, is our dad dumb?" Really calling it as it is. And again, 80 bringing such truth to what we're all thinking, and her just being this little kid saying, "Oh, I can't do this again," like explaining it more. So I think it was structured really well. All of them were so good in it. He's such a great dad who's just like very unassuming. My one question is, would this have been better if it wasn't that he was just so dumb and more just clueless? Because, at the end when he was like, "I've never been to Arizona, I want to see the ocean," I almost think it's funnier if he's just so unaware rather than dumb.
That's a great point. Because the one line I thought was funny, but it could have been a stronger sketch without it, with your premise, when he was like, "I mean, you guys are my miracles. With me and your mom only have done it twice." Yeah. There's 4 of us.
There's 4. Yeah, so I think this was still a really strong sketch. I laughed all the way through it. But then at the end, I thought, God, for such a structurally sound sketch and for something that really knew its purpose, right from the jump, I just went like, oh, I wonder though. I kind of would have liked it better if those just like really just straight up dumb lines were taken out and they went more along with that, just very... He's just the unassuming dad who really has no idea what's going on around him, which in a sense is dumb, but that was my only thought on that I wasn't sure of.
I think that's a great point. You've been Lauren, we've been telling you this for years. Hire Amy. Okay?
It's true.
Thank you.
It's true.
Great. I live for this anatomy of a sketch because I feel like I'm not paying for a Groundlings improv class, and I'm getting it.
There you go.
Yep.
You're welcome. You guys, you can Venmo me.
Cash App!
And guys, if people at home want to watch this clip, it's actually called Disney on YouTube. So SNL Disney.
Great.
Oh, nice. That's Juliet, our queen producer in the booth. We love you.
Give it up.
Called Disney.
Disney. All right. And that was Disney. All right. Well, so I know we talked a little bit about the news and gossip earlier, so I think let's talk about the MVP for this episode. Did you have one?
Wow. Can you go first?
I'm gonna say Heidi. She didn't have a lot, but I think she made such a big impact when she did that it saved it for me. So I'm just gonna go with her just for that reason.
That's a great choice. I think, and it's surprising, my choice, because he's not my favorite cast member, and he doesn't give me the most laughs, but I do have to say I think he's really improving and giving great material, Mikey Day, because this was the same episode we had him doing Facebook, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, wait.
Was that not him?
Alex.
Oh, Alex Moffat.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, I don't know. It's in between those two then.
You're
because
like
I
both
really
of them.
love when they do the Facebook.
Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg. So
Those are
maybe
always
it
good.
is him.
So maybe it is.
Yeah, maybe it's Alex Moffat. We want more of you.
Oh, man. And so, okay, so for the next episode, December 1st, it's going to be Claire Foy.
Ooh.
The literal queen.
Yes! Yes!
So you obviously hate her.
Yeah, I
Cool.
disgusted
Cool.
by her. Queen!
I know. I'm pretty excited.
Yes!
I want to see her get up, and I want to see those comedic chops.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna be a good episode.
Wow, you just made my night. I can't wait.
You're welcome. But yeah, so that one will be on December 1st. So glad we got in some Thanksgiving sketches in this one. So I won't get to see you for a couple weeks.
I know, I'll really miss you.
It'll be sad, but hope you guys tune back in for December 1st. In the meantime, though, Steph, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you on the internet?
You can find me on the internet, on Instagram and Twitter at StephsAbra. Happy Thanksgiving, you SNL weirdos.
Yes. Thanks for tuning in. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Amy Maestri. We'll see you on December 1st. Bye.
Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.